Welcome to We're Not Wizards. We are the best, but not wizards. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to We're Not Wizards. My name's Richard. Luke, say hello.
I'm Seppy.
All right,
Luke.
well, that's better. Yeah, okay.
You talk over me saying hello. Thank you very much.
talked over me the last time when I did the starting thing, so it's only just right. Say it again.
I was waiting for the host to be first. I'm a guest here, and I was like, I'll just wait to the host. Like, no.
See, this is it. It's like
you've come to the wrong place, Seppy.
You've come. Yeah. It is kind of like when you say,
I
right,
feel like this is the right place. I have been here before. I liked it here.
Not for
feel like this is-
professionalism. Not for professionalism and accuracy and
not for people. I've just figured out
I don't know.
that my
Like, I
cameras.
feel like this is professional fun.
I could be pointing to you talk.
yeah,
It doesn't
admittedly, I
matter.
did point at a camera
No,
with
it's
Seppy
like-
knowing no idea what orientation
that
he
is.
is to
Where
me
that is.
on my screen.
Oh, I've known my orientation for
First, oh my goodness!
Very
it's
clear.
It's 3 minutes
very
in.
clear that
3 minutes in. 3 minutes
Wow.
in.
yeah, that I'm a straight powerlifter caught in a very gay Asian body. It's very clear. Sorry, inside joke. Too early for inside joke.
It's not that. It's never too early for
We're
an
going to
inside
talk
joke.
about One Piece, Richard.
We're not going to talk about
Yeah.
One Piece just yet. We have to talk about One Piece because you
Why are you
brought
not
in
gonna
One
talk
Piece.
about one?
Welcome to the show. We had some fantastic feedback regarding our Game of the Year show. If you haven't checked it out, then please make sure you check it out. If you haven't checked it out, why haven't you checked it out? It was like a masterclass in kind of counting down from 10 to 1. I mean, we're almost like the Sesame Street of board game media. I mean, that's...
I was doing really well till I mucked up at 6 and, I get 6 and 7 mixed up.
You didn't muck up.
You would be the Pointer Sisters of board games if you could always get it.
What
Possibly.
feedback did we get? Where do I see this feedback? You don't
No,
tell me
didn't-
about this
Nah,
feedback.
we didn't get any feedback ever. No, people didn't care.
None.
None. No, that's not true at all. People liked it. People liked it. The companies that kind of had us like, because I emailed people.
Oh, I did see that, yes.
Yeah.
I
And they went,
got sent
"Thanks.
some messages saying,
Thanks
thank you for
very
the
much.
love.
Yeah, thanks for the caring. Thanks for the information. And then I realised that I left a game off the list. So completely. And I was just like, I'm not going to say what it is, but I'm going to snap myself about the head for doing that. Clearly something I should have shipped on quicker. And that's all the clues that there is for that kind of thing. Anyway, the last time that we spoke, and the last time that we spoke was like not that long ago for me. Look, but the last time we spoke to Seppy, we were talking about One Piece. And we were talking about, the question was, well, how have you started watching the Netflix thing? And I was like, I've just started watching the Netflix thing. And I have finished watching the Netflix thing. And I finished it like 2 days ago because I thought we're going to be talking. So I might as well, I'm just going to breeze through it and we finish. And I finished the first season and, oh, it's good.
I'm so glad you like it. One of the things that you do, Richard, that might drive other people crazy, but I think is amazing is I'm done with this now. I do not need to finish this. It has fully filled up the time that I have allotted and I've enjoyed it, but now I am moving on to something else. And so you getting all the way to the end of One Piece is an accomplishment, and I love it.
I just
For One Piece, not you. You can finish things all the time.
I just like that's what I am, literally the Mortal Kombat of media. That is my catchphrase. Finish him. That sounded wrong. Oh dear.
I had a very different use of that.
Let's not.
catch-line.
Yeah, let's. Yeah,
I was
let's.
like,
That's what I mean. That's why.
All your fun stopped in the 80s? Oh,
it did.
not good at all.
Did.
Not
All
good at
So,
all.
fun stuff.
as somebody who
Stopped in the
hasn't watched One Piece, and clearly,
Yes.
Seppy, you are a One Piece fan.
80s. Huge.
From the original One Piece, the anime. It's anime, yeah? It's not
Yeah,
manga.
yeah.
I never know the difference.
I
between
never
anime
broke
and
down.
manga.
I've still not broken down and done manga before where the anime is. So I'm almost a One Piece anime purist.
Okay. So, was this live action a worthy version of the anime? Or is it kind of something of its own kind of thing? Is it like the American office versus the British office?
Oh, I dreaded this so much. The live action One Piece, and it delivered way beyond my expectations. It is very hard to do something that is so combat oriented like the original seasons of One Piece. Like the choreography in the anime fights really peaks on what's called the Water 7 arc. But how every individual punch matters is so real in the anime and the manga in the beginning. And they somehow managed to capture that as a live action, like in a way where it's true to both being a good live action something and make me feel good about being a longtime fan of it. Oh, this is what I told you. One Piece of Chaos. I'll be right back.
Useless.
Is he like that when
Are
you
we
deal
just going to
with
sit
him?
in silence until he...
Well, I mean,
he
does he
decides to
just
come back
do that
from his
all the
phone call?
time when you speak to him and have meetings? I mean, does he just like disappear off? You know, is that what he does?
What would I do with him for work? I just, you just do your best. You just fight through it, you know.
You just have to like power through and, you know, I can just imagine how, you know, oh, hang on, I've got to go away again. And you're like, yeah, but I mean, this is kind of like important and, you know, and basically.
He's like a human firework. It's just.
It's like an indoor firework, like a blue touch paper type kind of thing. And, you know, and it's fine the first couple of times. And then you realize you might have accidentally set fire to your curtains. You know? I mean,
Have you had
to
much
be
snow in
honest-
Scotland? Where
No.
you are?
No, actually not at all. It's been very, 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 very kind of wet and rainy, which is terrible
Very
because when I've
British.
taken the dog out, no, it's been worse than British weather. Because when I've taken the dog out and he needs to go to the toilet, he wants to stand on the grass, and honestly, like walking on the grass is like.
All right, this
It's
thing
just
now
like-
goes off.
Right.
I'm so sorry about that.
He's not
It's okay, but
This was unavoidable.
we're just talking about, you know, how you've been on the
don't
show.
think
This
he
is
can
your
actually hear
third
us.
time.
Now he can.
Third time on the show. You can hear us now.
Now he
Third
might
time
hear
on the
all that
show.
things we just said about him.
I'm
and
so
just
sorry. But
taking
No, he's not.
liberties.
He just says sorry.
It's not. It's like there's no meaning.
Oh shit! He
Look
can't
at
hear
those
us.
eyes. There's no kind of graciousness in those eyes.
What's
and-
he showing us?
What is he showing us? What is that?
These are
I don't know what it is, but I like
handmade, handmade woodblock Japanese prints,
Wow.
style prints for Conquest Princess. The artist for our comic book
Oh, that's
made all of these, so they're all unique, and they are our special offering at the convention that's coming up. So they're all like, yeah, they're fantastic.
Which convention are
And
you
so-
going to? Which convention?
Con of the North in Minneapolis.
Oh.
I don't know what that is. What Con of the is that actually called Con of the North?
Con of the North.
Con of the North. Somebody sat down and thought, let's call ourselves Con of the North.
How north is Minneapolis
Yeah.
in a
Is it
North
Alaska?
America sense?
Yeah, is that
More north than Toronto.
Oh, is it?
what?
Hang on.
Really?
It's more north than Canada.
It is more north than, especially
bet.
like
Okay.
Windsor. Let's
We've
make
got a
let's
map.
make sure that I'm right. But I think it is.
I love the fact that Seppi's gone, I've
Let's
said a
go.
geography fact, and now I've instantly
I
questioned
gotta
myself.
go. Like you can always you can easily get
if it is
into.
indeed more
Let's just
north
see.
than one of the major cities of Canada, I think it fully justifies its title. Then that's
I think it is.
All right, let's
No,
look. Let's
check.
look. I'm going over from right now,
There we go.
and I'm going over to the right now.
Okay, here we go.
It's actually almost as far north as Montreal. So yes.
wow.
That's north.
Oh yeah, actually, it's just a smidge more south than Montreal, like a half an hour.
Is Canada
Half an
aware
hour.
of how much land North America as the United States has stolen? Clearly, Surely it's supposed to be a flat border. Just like there's not bumps.
The lakes did it.
Just like that.
Bloody lakes. There's bloody lakes.
I'm so
Bugger
glad
everything
that
up.
I'm so glad you called me on it, and I'm so glad I was right. Oh,
Do you know what you're not
so
right
good.
about?
So-
Do you know you're taking liberties now? Third time on the show, and it's like, oh, I'm just going to take deliveries halfway through something, and then 10 minutes
I
in,
told you, Richard,
I'm gonna
this
like
is coming.
I'm gonna like shill my like product now. I'm like 10 minutes
It
in.
was-
You're not even. You know what I mean? Did you see what I'm talking about? Do you think?
That poor
you know.
UPS guy's been stood on the doorstep for 30 minutes.
50 minutes.
And Seppy's like, right, I'll tell you, at this time, you make my phone buzz and I'll come and get that package
Yeah.
off you.
Exactly.
This is what I
That's
don't like
planning.
about
That's
Luke.
planning.
This is what I don't like about Luke. He's always 100% accurate. Like that guy was out there in like 0 degrees Celsius weather going, oh, this is not worth
This
the
is
tip.
weird.
And he was
This
just
is
doing
weird.
it.
Did you like? Go
What
out
even
and
are
an-
these?
Answer the
exactly.
door in your bathrobe and kind of like go, I can't possibly take a parcel. I'm just not ready. Give me 10 minutes. And then back in, and then kind of back
I
in
have
again.
a reputation for always being knowing what to do with the package. It's fine.
So much double entendre in like
It's just like
10 minutes,
I mean,
20
I can't
minutes.
Even, I know. It's just like we can't even talk. We can, but we won't.
Okay,
We can, but
let's
we
not.
won't, but we will, but we will maybe, but we will, but we won't, but we won't. So, One Piece, okay, I'm not going to spoil it.
Good.
Well, you
No.
talk from packages, I'm going on to One Piece. Enthusiastic. There's a certain level of enthusiasm to that show, an infectious enthusiasm that it's very, like, I don't know if you've seen, like, the Castlevania kind of anime, which is good, but it's hard work because it's fairly dark and it's fairly kind of depressing. And I know you kind of get that, but there's kind of getting the balance. And for me, it's very, very much like The Last Airbender or The Dragon Prince. It's kind of that level. And the fact that they do cover some serious stuff, but there's an underlying realm of likability amongst everybody as well. There's
Are you saying that you liked the Dragon Prince and
Yeah.
Castlevania and all those shows?
I wasn't too fussed on Castlevania because I found it a bit of a slog because it was kind of like, it was almost like, let's design a anime for Castlevania, and it was just a bit kind of, whereas what I found with One Piece and what I found with Dragon Prince and what I found with like Last Airbender, and it's probably because it appeals to the child of me, which is there was an enthusiasm and an infectiousness that even the bad guys were kind of, you knew they were bad guys, but they weren't kind of bad guys. They were kind of like still kind of, there was an area of fun about them, even though they were still quite oppressive and bad guy, if you know what I mean. Like the characters that are in there, I still had an awful lot of fun kind of
I
watching
think
them,
this-
basically.
I think this is fair. Richard. There's an infectiousness about the show that makes it contagious, Luke, that I think you'll like. Castlevania it was very dark and very adult.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it wanted you to be on board with how real and awful that world is. But what is true to all the things that were mentioned is that they are true to the genre that they are transported into, and they really talk about the human condition, universal of the stuff that they have going on. And I think that intrinsic quality is also part of that likability or approachability.
Yeah. I know, and as I say, I think you'll love it. And I think the boy will love it as well, Luke. I think you've got
Cool.
a treat. And it's also, from a parental point of view, it's not one of these things where you kind of go, there's no sexy stuff in it, so you're not kind of like sitting there having secondhand embarrassment, kind of going, all right, okay. There's not really any kind of gore in it. It's not kind of like, there's sword fighting and stuff, but there's not really anything that you would go, oh, okay, this isn't kind of 100% suitable or anything like that. So it's fairly kind of, it's kind of cartoony violence, but not kind of, I guess, Attack on Titan. kind of
like
cartoony
Invincible. Invincible.
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
my word.
I was like 5 minutes into that first. I was like, oh, this sounds like quite cool. This is, a lot of people love it. And I'm like 5 minutes in, I'm like, oh shit,
Yeah.
this took a turn. Won't be watching this with Elliot.
I'm just like,
There's stuff I let him get away with watching, and there's stuff that like Sarah will be like, why are you letting him watch this? I'm like, it's fine, he's all right. And then there's stuff like Invincible. I'm like, no. No.
That's a clear. I would be very worried if you're like, hey, I'm going to watch the subway scene in Invincible with my son. Like, oh no. No.
How old's your son? 18? Still no.
No, I wasn't
He's
sure
not
if I
ready
should
yet.
be watching Invincible because I stopped it and I went, this is a bit old for me. I should. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I should maybe
I need
come
a
back
parent.
when I'm a bit more. It's like mature content. I've always had this joke about like, if you get the warning at the beginning of a show and goes, "Warning: this show contains adult scenes that some viewers may find distressing," and I'm like, "Oh, so you've got somebody going and applying for a mortgage."
I was about to say exactly the same thing.
Do you know what I mean? It's just like two people sitting at the table going, I can't believe we've got to move power supplier because the other one folded.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Or my boss has said we've got to look at raising the percentage that's getting paid into my pensions to make sure it pays out on time. I mean, that is an adult scene that I find absolutely distressing at this age. I'm like, oh my goodness. I can cope with like somebody like picking up somebody's beheaded head and saying, I'm going to use you as a puppet. But if somebody's kind of like, guys, we're going to have to look what we're spending on the electricity this month. Make sure you're switching that light off. I mean, that sends kind of like shivers down my spine,
Or in the United States, it's you looking and constantly going, oh my God, the price of eggs have gone up again. Can I handle the price of eggs?
What is it? Was it chickens just had enough? Are they refusing to put out? Is that
chickens have just realized their worth. They've just they've had a little bit of self-reflection and they're like, you know what? That's worth more than, 30 pence an egg. I'm worth more than that. They're bloody good eggs, I'll have you know.
Chickens have
again, Luke being 100% accurate at all time. I can't refute that at all with like the facts that it's avian flu that has been awful since 2020. But I'd rather have the chickens unionize, understanding their worth in production. That is way more fun. This is why that adulting
We're doing
is so much more
a maximum of 4 eggs a week. We want every second want every second Saturday off. We want to kind of like
you're gonna have allowed at least 8 hours between each 2 egg laying. With no disturbances.
Fox insurance. Everybody's concerned by Fox insurance.
I think everybody should have Fox insurance to make sure they stay off that bloody channel. I don't want to say.
So I like the fact that you mentioned Invincible as another port. Obviously, this is from comic book to the animated show.
Yeah.
But then you also have it competing in its own weird way with The Boys.
Yeah.
So like,
so. Yeah.
How awful can a superhero universe be for the people who are in that universe? And they're really talking about it's absolutely like Invincible. It's absolutely the worst for the superheroes more than anybody else. And The Boys' take is that might be the truth, or the superhero people are obviously will become completely morally unhinged.
Yeah.
Considering their superiority.
Yeah, because there's part of The Boys where you're kind of like, yeah, this is gross and funny. And there's part of The Boys which like, this is a really interesting kind of statement this person's making about kind of like power and corruption, and folks saying, well, yeah, you could kill me, but I mean, you don't have any power because I'll just make you disappear. You're pointless without me, kind of thing. Because I run the business.
Power of public perception and marketing.
Yeah,
and also, it's amazing. It's a great.
That's the part of the adult discussion about chicken prices that interests me most in the Boys. Like, oh, this is polling. You're not polling. This is why.
Yeah.
Like. You might be able to burn the world down, but would you want to live in it? Is the question they have to ask their version of Superman. Like, you are capable of ending all things, but you will never actually get the thing that you want, considering this thing. But this also ties back to One Piece in a very real way, Luke. Okay. So the characters in One Piece have their own system of getting superpowers, like Monkey D. Luffy, for example. Yeah. But they pay a horrible kryptonite for this. The most reasonable kryptonite in superhero shows or type things.
But don't give too much.
I'm not going to spoil it.
Don't give too much. Please don't give too much away, because one part of the joy is just, everything that happens. You're just like, this is kind of pretty cool.
Was I on the right side of that line, Richard, or did I step too much? Was I leaning over that line?
As usual, as I say, you kind of show event number 3. You're kind of taking the piss a little bit, kind of like you're stepping over the line and dancing back again and going, what can I get away with? You're like kind of like Ricky Gervais at the Grammys. You've been told not to mention Mel Gibson, and you've kind of you've kind of dropped in and went, oh, that Passion of the Christ, ooh, and then kind of walked away.
If it's in time with Richard, if we're not talking about the Passion of the Christ, it really is.
Is it the podcast at all? Unless we're bringing that up, I mean.
And by the time we're filming it also, everybody, happy Lunar New Year. It's Year of the Dragon. Yay.
Wow. Do you have a
challenge coin?
Do you? Oh, is it? Are you challenging? Oh,
the Panda.
Is that called a challenge coin? Is that a challenge coin?
Panda. I've been with Panda for a while, and so they send you these things. These things are great. But yeah, this Lunar New Year, it's very, very, very exciting. But if we're talking about One Piece and that it was successfully ported over, the failures for their people are very mad that Cowboy Bebop did not succeed as well as One Piece did. And there's a line for using an established fan base to get your thing to be exciting for folks. And to be true to something that is inherently not live action, while simultaneously true to the like it's a live action show that has to stand on its own, or it's a movie that has to stand on its own as a movie, except for just being part of this thing, is a real hard balancing act that One Piece actually very much succeeded at, which is
One Piece the first one to have done it? Because Avatar: The Last Airbender, that movie. The new one that's coming out for Avatar: The Last Airbender looks quite positive, but that movie, whoa, that was an atrocity to nature, God, and humanity, and everything. It was just like, whoa, I wasn't even a fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender at the time, and I knew it was feckin' awful. Was One Piece the first one to get it right? Because the Cowboy Bebop pretty much got absolutely canned, didn't it? And
are we gonna talk about anime only? Are we gonna talk about ports from books to movies? What are we going to talk about?
Yeah, we need some fences. I mean anime, because or certainly that kind of genre. I know technically, Avatar: The Last Airbender isn't technically anime, is it? Because it's from Korean.
It's anime inspired. It's not anime per se, but
so I mean specifically anime, and I mean that because from my limited experience of anime, I could see why it's so hard to transition it over to live action, because it has such a distinct style and feel and beat, and it's like, how on earth do you the closest I ever saw anything get to that was. What's his face versus the world? Scott Pilgrim versus the world.
Yeah.
When they did the movie of that, I was like, oh, that feels like they're doing anime. I didn't know much about Scott Pilgrim versus the world equally, but I could see the anime in it. I was like, oh, I can actually see how they could pull this off. They managed to do those things.
The follow-up Netflix anime that's I would watch it. If you're a fan of the comic books or the movie, I would watch the new Netflix one, which is not like a retelling of the story. It's really good. It's really good.
I've heard it's good fun.
Richard, do you have a pony in the anime-esque animation success story race, or do you want me to give mine first?
See, it's really strange because my introduction to anime was there was a there was a company that decided to bring over kind of anime stuff. So the first thing that it did was Akira. So there was this company that they released Akira on VHS. So I was like quite literally like going, this is amazing. Oh, yeah. It's absolutely fantastic. And so I got that. But then the second one, because the first one you're kind of like, Akira, this is amazing, and it was a bit gory, and there's some bits in it you're just like, oh my goodness. But then the second video that they released in the series, they decided to release, what was it? Was it called Orokasoka Doji? The Legend of the Demon Womb, which was, now at the time, right, when this came out, I must have been about 16 years old, right? And I put this thing on because my younger brother, who was 14 at the time, only a couple of years younger than me.
What?
Yeah. So we was like, well, how bad could it be? It's like animation, and it's like a kind of like an 18. How bad could it be? So you put Akira, you watched Akira, you went, okay, yeah, I can take or leave Akira. It's kind of like, it's not violent, it's incredibly cool, it's amazing, it's a really good film. And then we're like, well, let's go and get the second one. So like they said, oh, this is released, this is the next one that's going to be released. So we got it and put it on, and oh my days, you can imagine going like, because this is back in the days before the internet, so you didn't have access to kind of like, let's say, certain materials that were available kind of online. If you look at it,
let me ask Luke a question. Let me ask Luke a question to see where he is in this thing that we were talking about. How familiar are you with hentai?
I know exactly what hentai is, and I'm assuming that there's something of the demon womb.
Yes.
It's Legend of the Demon King, but it's fine. It is every stereotype of hentai that you could possibly imagine.
Oh, wow.
And to Richard's point, before the internet, we would just face tank these things.
Yeah, I mean, you just like,
and it was, it was, yeah.
You have to buy a magazine to find out about it.
Oh my gosh.
And the pictures on the back, obviously, they're not going to put what it was in the back. It's just like an 18, so you're assuming it's kind of like violence. No. And they said a little bit of sex, and you're like, okay. And then you put it in, and I'm just like, oh, I can not only kind of not watch this, really, at any time where there's anyone in the house whatsoever. Also, I had to kind of dodge the parent question where my dad's like,
your 14-year-old brother.
That Akira was good, wasn't it? Because he watched a bit of it and he was amazed at the animation. He says, oh, wait, you got that? And he says, oh, what'd you think of that? I said, that's rubbish. I wouldn't bother. It was a bit of waste of money. Like hiding it and burned it. It was just like one of those things. I mean, afterwards, you kind of like got Fist of the North Star and stuff like that, and things kind of like dropped off. But one of the things I remember
Fist of the North Star, yeah.
Lap Pizza. That was my first kind of thing. So again, I guess Akira being I was originally obviously manga transition. And the thing is, this is the thing about Akira, you go, and I was into Batman at the time. So I had like, The Killing Joke and all these different kind of, Death in the Family and everything like that. So I'm going, so somebody says, oh, there's like manga, there's like basically a comic book. And at the time, they were just starting to translate Akira, the manga, into English.
Yeah, Viz Comics.
And they just started to do it. But I didn't realize that Akira was like about 70 volumes. I didn't realize like it got so many kind of like different things. I was like that. I think I'll go and read, if it's anything like the movie, I think I'll go and read this Akira kind of thing. So I went in kind of looking for it, picked one up, and it was like, hang on, volume 13. It was just abs. And obviously the other thing is...
Because the movie only covers... Does the movie only cover like volumes 1 through 3? Or is it even that far?
That's still pretty impressive.
I don't know.
3 volumes.
I don't know.
So the One Piece live action covers pretty much the first season-ish of the anime.
Isn't One Piece the actual anime? Was like one of the longest running shows ever.
Yeah.
Or the most or something. It's got a record. I forget what it is.
It's in the top 10. There are a lot of shows that have a lot more than it
Right.
than you'd think. But as far as mainstream success goes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Like Case Closed is got more episodes by a lot, and so does like Japanese Ghost Stories. But yeah, we're looking into like One Piece currently is 1,400 episodes, but yeah.
Oh, actually, I've just thought of I thought of another converted one that was okay. Death
Okay.
Note. I watched the movie version.
I
and
did
that was all
not.
right. It was
I
okay.
thought that was okay. Okay. I'm going to put forward Aeon Flux with Charisse Theron.
Yeah, that was rough. That was rough.
I love Charisse Theron. Like she can do
Who
no
doesn't?
wrong, but, like,
Who doesn't?
I love her so much. It's post like it was a property they were going to try to like ride on the Matrix's coattails with that same level of like vision and weirdness. I liked that live action movie, but I also liked the live action Cowboy Bebop.
Oof.
Oh,
I
okay.
did not like
Right.
Aeon Flux. I did like. I've just remembered one I did like recently. Attila the Battle Angel, which was one of the few books. Books I actually read the book or one of the books of Attila the Battle Angel, and I really enjoyed that, and so did Elliot. And we're glad to hear that they are actually doing another one as well.
Battle Angel Lita is fantastic. Yeah.
It's
also a super dark
criminally
story.
overlooked,
Yeah,
though.
I'm a fan. I liked that adaptation.
It was incredibly violent, though, as well.
Yeah, it really was. And
I remember.
I couldn't understand why. I couldn't understand why. It was really well shot, looked beautiful, really. What's the word I'm looking for? Faithful to the material. I mean, there's probably some storyline stuff.
I've got one right there. Like I can literally point at it on my collection. It is right there.
But yeah, the whole look of it, I thought they nailed it. Absolutely nailed it.
It's really, really good.
I just don't think they put the marketing oomph behind it, or they marketed it the wrong way. Because I remember, I mean, it's on Disney Plus just now, but it's still very much kind of marketed as some kind of adult. It's not marketed for what the genre it should be under, because it was still under. It was alongside kind of a couple of kids action things, and I was just like, "There's no way that should be in amongst exactly that kind of thing." You know what I mean?
Did you see John Carpenter of Mars?
Yeah.
No, I've meant to for years. It was meant to be
another
spectacular
crap version of great writing.
Was it bad?
That one, I did not hate it.
It was it was fine. It just wasn't.
But the
as
marketing
good
for
as it could
that
have been.
was worse than the actual movie. Like,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Like conversely, the marketing versus money for Cowboys versus Aliens. Again, another comic book translated
was that
from
a comic book?
It was.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Cowboys versus Aliens. Absolutely.
I just assumed that was a movie that created from a very late night in a bar, because it's just the whole premise of it is just like, okay, let's make the Western movie. You've always wanted to make a cowboy movie. It's like, yeah, but I want to make an aliens movie, dude. It's like, let's do both.
It's genius.
Yeah,
it's genius.
And we'll have cowboys, and he's got a gun and a laser gun on his arm. It's like, yeah,
we're gonna have James Bond shooting aliens,
and he learns halfway through that he's got the weapon, but he doesn't realize all the time he could have been firing and killing the aliens. That's genius. That's a twist. Let's put that in. And everybody's drunk, and then they wake up the next morning and went, I really wish I'd forgotten last night. And then somebody's like, no, I took 52 pages of notes. We've got funding.
Okay.
We're going to make it.
That's amazing. I want to know, have you seen Resident Alien?
I love Resident Alien.
Is that Alan Tudyk?
Tudyk, yeah.
I've not. What's it on?
I've heard apparently it's on over here. You watch it on Sky One, I think.
Oh,
it's on the Sky Channel.
It just got.
I've heard that the fans of the actual, the comic of it hate it. Like truly hate it. I'd never heard of it. I just saw the trailer for it, watched the first episode. I think actually my mum watched it and said, oh, you've got to watch this. Heard it was Alan Tudyk. I was like, yeah, I'm all in.
Yeah.
And I watched it. I loved every second of it. But
Richard, this is for you.
Fans
Luke,
do not like it.
Luke, don't you think this is for Richard?
Oh, yeah, you'd love it.
Because I look like an alien?
Richard. Yes.
I wonder if I can watch it on Now TV, because I did one of those things where
that's what I watch it on, Now TV. Yeah.
Now TV gave me they do the usual. They sent me an offer and they went, oh, you can get this for like £7 a month. And I was like, I'm not taking your £7 a month, you dirty tart. And they went, how about £5? And I went, okay, I'm all in, but you have to sign up for 6 months. That's fine, I'll do that. So, The Watchmen. That's what we've not talked about. The Watchmen, the new comic, the new version of The Watchmen that was out. That was a good. I thought that was.
Oh, The Watchmen is so good.
I just don't like The Watchmen. I just don't. I don't. Every time I've watched it and I've tried to read it, and I'm just like, I don't get what everybody loves about this.
Because
Rorschach's quite a cool character. I get it, but there's some cool characters, but there's just nah. Just doesn't.
And the reason why is because.
And I know I'm wrong.
You're not wrong. No, you're not wrong. Because the reason that you're not getting into it is quite simply is that you're getting into it at the wrong time. That it's a lot of the stuff that The Watchmen does, a lot of the stuff that The Watchmen covers off, a lot of the themes and stuff in The Watchmen have been covered again and again and again by other stories, directly or inadvertently. So when you try to read The Watchmen again, you're just like, oh, this is just so dull and so pastiche, and I've seen it a million times before. But if you went back to like when it was released, first of all, it would have blown your mind. I read it as
I get it.
I read it as like when I was 16, 17, and at the time it was just like, this is an extraordinary comic, this is an extraordinary graphic novel. If you went back and read it now, I think there's too many things that you're going to be thinking, well, this is a bit like this is a bit like that, and it doesn't work. And the TV show, while it changed a lot of stuff, it actually ran with the comic, as opposed to, as much as I like the Zack Snyder adaptation, I do like it. Him with his,
Is that the movie one?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Zack Snyder taking a drink. When he moves like really slow for a second, then it's like the last second is speeded up. Because I'm only saying that.
I don't need to see the image of Richard's tongue slowly extending from his mouth, trying to get the drops of water that he has flung towards his face. I don't need the Zack Snyder cut.
Release the Richard cut. That's what they're talking about. That's what they're all shouting at.
I've got to mention this to Luke. Why did it matter? Why was it good? And why does it not hit for you right now? Watchmen #1 is about a story about American imperialism. And American imperialism might not seem very big to British people. It is extremely a Cold War story.
Yes.
And if you don't remember the terror of AIDS or nuclear, duck and cover, then it's not going to hit for you. And then to the third point, it is the first one of the first or the big successes in superheroes are awful. And we've seen superheroes are awful now a lot of different ways in a lot of different things.
See, I very much felt like when I watched The Boys, I felt like I'm pretty sure I even said to myself, like, this is what thought I was going to get in The Watchmen.
Ah, right.
And,
yeah.
I think when I watched The Watchmen, I could tell, I was like, there's lots of cool characters here, but I just found it really dull, and I couldn't for whatever reason get into it. When I found The Boys, it felt like that I'd found my Watchmen kind of thing.
Luke, do you like Masterpiece Theater and Hercule Poirot Mysteries?
Oh, so not as a general, no.
And that's the exact same problem.
Yeah.
Exact same problem with The Watchmen. Like letting people know that this is a mystery and it's going to lay out in the same timeline, where The Boys is a visceral experience that you will have to,
It's kind of like that. It's kind of good. Is there, right, putting this back to you then, Seppy, is there a kind of a comic book or animation that you would like put into kind of live action? I know they're doing The Last Airbender and they're releasing snippets and saying, well, they're changing this and they're changing that. And the fans are like, oh, no, but he has to be sexist. And it's kind of like, I kind of agree to have a journey. But is there stuff that you're like going, I'd love them to try and give this a shot and let this kind
What
of
do you mean
live
nobody has to
action?
be sexist? What's that reference to? Because I don't know what you're talking about.
In the Last Airbender, one of the characters is a little bit kind of there with a bit of the casual.
Oh, they've
sexism.
changed his kind of ethos.
They've kind of
Right,
changed
okay.
his kind of thing from the beginning. Whereas the whole point of it in the first episode, he's like his sister is literally having a go at him and saying, "Why?" Do you
Oh, I
have
know
to
who
be
you mean
sexist?"
now. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah.
So they're
okay.
kind of removing. Apparently, they're removing that from the TV show, and people are like going, "But that's kind of his journey from where he was to kind of where he is. There's no growth if he comes into this journey kind of fully balanced and everything like that. So we'll just have to see." But
And I'm okay or not okay with it depending on how much time they're spending with the time.
Yeah.
When you have an animated series over multiple books and all this kind of stuff, you can take the time that you need for a nuanced conversation about somebody growing up past a thing.
Mhm.
And when you're doing something as an 8 episodes, you have to make choices,
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely.
And so that's sort of the hard, things coming up that people should look at that are gonna get live action, and they're gonna be one of 3 live action versions. Okay, like Chainsaw Man is gonna get a live action sometime, and that is going to be like Tokyo Gore Police probably. But if it is done well, it could be something much different.
Yeah, I'll bet. Yeah.
Richard, are you familiar with Chainsaw Man?
It was like one of these things, like a firework that kind of appeared and everybody went crazy daft for him, and I think it's kind of died down, but I'm pretty sure it's kind of like there's people kind of beavering away and watching it. I am aware of it. He's appears to have like a chainsaw for a head and a chainsaw for arms.
You think that Chainsaw Man can't be good? It's crazy. It's really good. Like, speaking back to that earlier, like it catches you up in it, and it talks about human qualities.
Yeah.
Like Chainsaw Man has that. Like, it has obviously as much gore as you would think from a chainsaw centered anime. It's like, it does. But the amount of character development that happens in Chainsaw Man is spectacular. It's crazy. All right. So you have Shintoism, right?
Yeah.
Which is the natural religion of Japan. And then you have its interaction with pop culture, which is various shamanistic traits that end up getting characterized into manga and anime tropes.
Yeah.
And there is a continuum of like mental health through shamanism, through spirituality, that you can follow on a continuum from Chainsaw Man to Jujutsu Kaisen to Demon Slayer. That is very interesting, where people are, the more extreme that you are, the more like terrible you are as a human, but more successful you are as being a demon slayer or an exorcist. And it is, as a longtime fan of the genre, it is really sort of exciting to see. So on your list of things that I'm loathing to see, I will definitely watch it. Chainsaw Man's going to get a live action. It is bound to happen.
It's going to be Claret's going to be all over the place. There's going to be blood and guts and gore, and people are going to say,
it's probably going to be like Tokyo Gore Police, if you know that genre of that. And so there are all these sort of low budget, just in Japan. Like, we saw somewhere between like a One Piece and Death Note live actions was Yu Yu Hakusho's anime, like live action adaptation on Netflix. Did either of you catch Yu Yu Hakusho? Spirit Detective?
No, I
So
didn't.
this is Japan trying to do what One Piece did on its own. And it's okay. Like, if you are a fan of Yu Yu Hakusho, the Spirit Detective, it's good, but there's things in it that are unapproachable to non-fans of the manga / anime. Yes. So My Hero Academia is probably very high on the list of a port over to a live action version. If One Piece does well, My Hero is going to be on that list, and so is Demon Slayer.
But is there just too much
What
of
about,
like My Hero
Full
Academia?
Metal Alchemist is real.
Oh yeah. No, there's.
They have done that, and that's why it was off my list. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, that's how
you can catch those out on
well it
Netflix.
did, because we're both like going, Full Metal Alchemist would be a good live action. You're like, it's already there. And I'm like, oh, okay. I guess that done goofed. Then that didn't work.
Yeah, well, like I said, there's these sort of real, like low end live action Japanese versions, and there's the higher action that they try to get out of the islands, and then there's then you have people like who are huge fans of the genre lifting it up and giving it to like a wider audience than just Japan. Yeah.
Do you know what I'd like to see? And this is back from my childhood. Is it Battle of the Planets, Luke?
Gotcha, man. G-Force.
The
Yeah.
Battle of the Planets.
Yeah.
Oh
I'll
my
tell you what.
gosh.
Could you imagine?
Absolutely.
Battle of the Planets
what
I
they
would
could do?
like.
Could you imagine can you imagine who they could
There's
get
a few.
to play?
There's a few from back then I'd love to see.
Just to say that, that would be an absolutely wonderful
Yeah, I'm
one.
surprised. They could. All right. So let's talk about this topic that will get Luke canceled. Let's talk about things that we love from our childhood that we would love to get updated, but they're problematic, and we cannot do that until certain criteria happen. Okay.
That's an awful thing to do.
Which
Why
one?
is there anything like that? I'm not going to be
Which
doing. I'm going to be
I
doing
don't know
that.
if I can. I don't know if there's any that
I have a real soft spot, and I shouldn't, because it's highly misogynist, and Piers Anthony is a terrible. You should not give that guy any more money. But like sentimentally and for his IPs, I can see them being lifted and rewritten for a modern audience. Like, I don't actually think the misogyny is core to all the good stories in there. And I love the world of Xanth, but there's some real problems. Like, what do you do with those things? Like, one of the reasons that we are able to watch like Full Metal Alchemy and some other things is like the interpretation of fascism from a Japanese person is very different than the rest of the world. Right?
Yeah.
And you cannot have the story that happens in Full Metal Alchemist told by somebody who's not Japanese.
right.
It wouldn't work.
Right? And so this is how these two topics are linked. Like, if you could have a like a problematic IP rewritten to not have the problems in it, like what would you choose? Like, obviously we've done that with James Bond. He's become less misogynistic as the decades. He's become more evolved as it's gone along.
A little.
Yeah, a little,
You know.
a little. Not still not great, but less so than he was. Like, if there's an IP, what would you? Because you were also talking about animes. Like, yeah.
I mean,
So
I don't.
mine is from the era of Battle of the Planets and everything.
Yeah.
Mine would be Ulysses 31.
Oh wow! Yes.
I friggin' loved Ulysses 31 when I was a kid. I would love for them to do Ulysses 31 modern, the Explorer Through the Star. Just fucking brilliant. I would love it,
I'm sort of on board with that kind of stuff.
It
I
just
like
had,
that.
It had loads of the Greek mythology in it, and it's just like using loads of inspiration of the Greek is, again, probably another one of these reasons that I love the Greek myths is things like Ulysses 31 that transferred it into me in an accessible way kind of thing. But yeah, great.
But they've never,
show for
they've
that,
never, I don't think they've ever upscaled it or done anything with the original anime and kind of cleaned it up or anything like that. I think you can still get it on kind of like VHS.
And they really need to, because
it's going to get lost.
It's actually got bad acting in it. It's awful. I mean, I've gone back and watched it. It's one of those things where you get to you're like 30 and you suddenly go, what was that show called? You're like, oh, that one, I'm going to go back. And you watch it, you're like, this is awful.
It was like
this is so bad.
Visionaries as well. Visionaries was another one which was like, it lasted only about like 12 episodes, but it had, I think it was made by some of the same people who were involved in the Transformers, because there was a lot of voice actors that were.
It was based on toys. It was based on toys.
Oh,
wasn't it? They had
but the animation
things in their chest.
The animation was really, really good. I just don't wonder why people aren't grabbing these if they're just not.
I think they are. Like with Disney popping, like buying everything they can, like there's a reason that He-Man showed up again. There's a reason that Voltron's reboot was good, and Voltron's rebooted
Voltron
multiple times.
Good. Yeah,
it's really good.
She-Ra, one more.
You do? Let's hear it.
I have, yeah. And this is, I think, again, I don't know, is this a series or is this a movie? But Jason the Wheeled Warriors.
Oh,
do you know Jason the Wheeled Warriors?
Oh my days!
With the guys in there, like cool, like like Jason had a arm thing on his one, and then there was a kid in his dad's like mech suity thing, and they were all against these like weird planted. I'm trying to remember what the bad guy
plant cars, but the guy had like a really big
generic bad guy name, like
really,
Gargon
really
or something
big
like that.
Head, and he had vines coming out of his
bulbous
arms,
head,
and it's like that.
Yeah.
And he used to like grow vehicles that used to chase him down, everything, and it was kind of like it was okay. But then you had Mask.
Yeah, Mask.
Oh, Mask.
Yeah,
was good.
Mask was good. Mask was good.
Mobile
I only
Strike
remember the
Team.
toys.
Oh, Mobile Arms Strike Team or something like
Strike Command.
I don't particularly remember the show for Mask. I remember the toys, and I remember one of my mates had loads of them, but I can't particularly remember watching the show. I know I did watch it.
It was adverts for toys. That's what it was. They had.
That's all they were. Yeah.
It kind of fell down. The problem with Mask was it was at the beginning. It was kind of like it was an interesting tale, which I'm probably going to tell very badly. But at the beginning, it was very much a kind of a, was it Viper or something? The Vicious Evil Network of Mayhem or something. Venom they were called, not Viper.
There you go.
So there you go. So that's why these kind of things work. But at the beginning, it was all like, you know, your man Mayhem kind of trying to destroy everything and things like that. And then I think somebody stepped in and went, this is too violent for what it is. And they toned it right back, and they turned it into kind of like the last couple of series. Apparently, they were all just racing each other instead. And then by that time, folk were just like, "This is crap. This is so bad. This is just a bad show."
Also, I'm about to get a return of one of my favorites.
Okay,
next month.
Which one?
Which one?
X-Men '97.
Oh,
yeah.
Continuing. It's just like, oh.
This is the power of streaming services, Luke.
Yeah.
Like X-Men '97 and Gargoyles.
Is
like,
Gargoyles coming back?
Are they bringing Gargoyles
people watching so much of it on streaming. They have all this data. They're like, we should probably do something. This is like the number, whatever, 6th property that people spend time on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Wasn't X-Men at the time a bit not problematic, but certainly in some of the ways that Rogue was kind of continually drawn with her like butt first, and everything else.
The women in X-Men X-Men '97, X-Men were,
let's just say,
they wore body gloves at all times. Yes,
they basically.
to be fair, so did the guys. They were all, they were all classic action posing and. In fact, Gambit was one of the few that got away with anything that was, remotely. Yeah, exactly. It's like, I've got a black, a brown duster, and
trench coats generally are not for perverts.
Hot pink lycra on his chest and black. It's like,
Is there something you want to tell us, Gambit? Is there something? I know you hang about with Wolverine all the time. Is there something you want to be kind of saying? One of the things I don't understand, and putting this on the flip side, right, is, and I'm going to kind of like, I guess, out myself at the same time as complaining about this, but I mean, why the hell do these boys get so much screen time? I mean, Transformers, and I've got Starscream in my hand because he's my favourite, because he's an arse. Just like me. And they seem to get series out of series without even having to kind of like fart or cough. It's like if I see here's a Cybertronian series. Is it connected to the fact that they put toys like this out all the time, and that they know that the people who are watching Transformers when they were 12 are now watching Transformers in their 40s, and they can kind of put out a new 40 quid kind of figure, and the guys in the 40s will go, yeah, I'm having that. That's mine. I got this for Christmas. I'd like to point out I didn't buy this with my own money. However, I did buy this one. And there's several others over here that I also bought. I've discovered the joy of kind of like robots in disguise again. I don't know why.
It's true. It's more than meets the eye, your love for this.
It's just amazing.
The answer to your question is the style and flavor of the animation and who owns the rights or bought the rights for it continually. So if you remember, when somebody buys the rights to it, they usually have an option to continue. And as long as they produce something in that IP, that's why there's a terrible Fantastic Four movie that no one's ever seen.
Right.
Yeah. And why they don't let. So to answer your question, somebody got the rights early to it, who was one of these computer animation studios before all the movies went really big. And so they just, to keep their option open at this low price, they just keep on making them, and boom, boom, boom. And they're relatively successful versus how cheap they are to make. And the crazy thing about animating something in a CG style is certain types of animation, you can just put another character on that animation and have them do something else.
Oh, and you repeatedly see the one about Disney where they've got the cartoon of Christopher Robin and Mowgli, and they're walking in exactly the same way and doing exactly the same actions, and they rotoscoped them both, but they just drew the kind of the sales of. They've got like a picture of, was it another one of Baloo the bear dancing when he's dancing with King Louie, but he's dancing and in Robin Hood as Little John as well. So they kind of recycle it. So I can imagine once you kind of get the animation kind of sorted out, then it's pretty easy just to say, right, do it with this
even
character,
worse when now the
character.
machines are doing the thing of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So to the answer to your question is they're surprisingly cost effective to make. That is why we can have an unlimited amount of them. Like if you build the sets for Cybertron, you can continue to use the sets for Cybertron over and over and over and over and over again. Yeah. And that's the deal, especially if they're like 3D animated. And once you have it, it's yours forever. Well, like you can reuse that set.
I just want Battle of the Planet in kind of like Tiny and Keop and Mark. It was at the time. They were just like, they were called like Mark. It was like Mark, Jason, and Princess. I mean, if you're talking about fixing somebody's name, do you know what I mean? It's like Mark. Because at the time, all the other characters were called something kind of, strange, or kind of cool, but they were always kind of like, because there's like, oh, there's Mark, Mark's in primary school. There's Jason, Jason's in primary school, and there's Princess, but at the same time it was kind of normal names, and also at the time you didn't realize absolutely how camp the main bad guy was with his lipstick and stuff like that.
It's crazy. He would dress any way that he wanted to. Yes, he was very much in the David Bowie like glam rock style of bad guy of the era.
Oh yeah,
he was.
I'd forgotten what he looked like.
Oh my god, yeah.
Just like
there's an old. There is an old rock opera movie called Phantom of the Rock Opera, and his costume could have easily been lifted from Phantom of the Rock.
But it just looks amazing. It's kind of like what happens if Batman just had too many glasses of white wine one night and
discovered himself.
Yes, found out really who he is and how he feels about Robin.
What he likes about Catwoman is the whipping and nothing else. That is who that guy. And I'm not gonna yuck anybody's yum. Yeah, you go crazy.
It's like chasing after a man that's constantly wearing makeup. I mean, come on, Batman. Have a word with yourself. Hanging about in a cave. I mean, is it because your parents died? Because you seem to keep talking about that again, and we're just wondering if you want to hang. So this is when all the Batman fans come after us. Exactly. That would be amazing. That's what we want. The next Batman film that comes out, just make him like absolutely so kind of gay.
I think that is closer than you think in the universe, because I think the Spider-Verse movies being so insanely good
Yes.
and opening people to a whole reality of characters like you've never seen them before. Even like Loki for season 1, this same character can have purchase in a number of universes and a number of settings. And again, what makes them interesting is their reflection on the human condition.
Yeah,
right.
The interesting thing about Loki was that, like, I watched Loki, and then my son, he says, "Oh, what do you want to watch?" I says, "We want to watch Loki because Loki's good." And my wife wanted to watch Captain America and the Winter Soldier because of Sebastian. Was it Sebastian Stan or whatever? She goes, "It's like, is Bucky in it?" I was like, "No, he's not. He's not in any other Marvel. In any other Marvel that's coming out, there's no Bucky. Bucky is dead to you. Bucky is invisible.
He's beautiful.
But, I mean, you know, but
He's
apart from
broodingly beautiful.
but he was watching. I'm not going to stand up. He was watching kind of like Loki, and it was kind of like, oh, Loki's a girl. And it's like, oh, they have to do this nowadays. They have to make Loki a girl. It's like, no, actually, if you go and read the comic from like about 19 canteen years ago, Loki has always had kind of, he's always kind of been gender fluid. You know, if you read the kind of some of the comics from there as well, it's just that it just happens that modern culture's catching up with stuff that's happened kind of like 10 years ago, which I keep saying to, you know, it's like, oh, but Captain America is Steve Rogers. No, he's not been that for a little while now. You're just kind of catching up just to kind of a little bit.
Going back to mentioning Fantastic Four, what did you think of the announcement of the Fantastic Four cast? I'm a bit mixed about it.
Who did they got The Last of Us. They got Joel. The Mandalorian. Yeah, he's so amazing.
I love Pedro Pascal, but I don't like him for Mr. Fantastic.
There was an obvious choice.
I'm sure he'll be good at it. Vanessa Kirby is Sue Storm, and Vanessa Kirby will smash it because Vanessa Kirby is fabulous. I forget his name, but have you watched Bear on Disney Plus?
Yes.
It's a show about a chef.
Yes.
Yeah. So his brother, the guy who plays his brother in that, he is Thing. I forget Thing's actual name.
Benjamin Grimm.
Thank you. And then the guy who plays Mr. Benjamin Grimm. Bloody hell.
We got to be proper here, Luke.
Then the guy who plays
Eddie
in Stranger Things. Yeah, he's a Human Torch.
Yeah.
Which
I'm interested in.
I
think it'll be good.
When I first saw it, I was like, oh, that's a bit of a weird one. You know, I really like him in Stranger Things. He's fabulous. But I was a bit like, oh, Human Torch, I don't know. But I'm willing to see on that one.
I think
Pedro Pascal is Mr. Fantastic. He's the one. It's only because in Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, when John Krasinski appears as Mr. Fantastic, it's just so friggin' right. It's perfect. He just, suit fit him like a bloody glove. And it just like, there we go. That's the Mr. Fantastic we've been waiting for.
Tick the box, sign it off.
And now it's suddenly it's Pedro Pascal.
All right. I have a counter argument for that. I hear you, and he really did fit the comic book.
Yeah.
But the comic books were all written by white dudes in the 40s, right?
Yeah.
To catch up to the rest of the world. And the reason that you have not heard of the Full Metal Alchemist live action versions are they star all Japanese people being all the characters. Okay. And it's not approachable to the world. And where Doctor Who and One Piece live action meet together, and the BBC in general, the colorblind casting for the One Piece show is perfect. It is almost insanely good.
It had so many Scottish actors in it as well. I was just like that. I feel represented. And it's not some kind of stereotype kind of like, you know, boy. He was like the captain. He's like the kind of the general, the admiral or whatever. And I'm just like, yes, get in, son, kind of thing. It was just amazing. And, you know, I really like that.
He is amazing.
I felt represented and happy.
And again, there's this idea that opening it up like tomorrow, and this makes people lose their mind. Like the Little Mermaid being anything but like a white ginger, like made people lose their mind. You know, she's like a sea princess, right? Under the sea.
She's a fish. She's a fish.
She should probably be pale. Like you could.
She'd have gills.
Yeah, she's probably.
You know.
Yeah, like she's like deep under the sea too, so she could, huge buggy eyes and like
she'd be like Gollum.
do
you know what I mean?
Yeah, she should look more like Gollum. Like
she'd be getting a fork and going like that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Rather than going, I'm gonna sing, and that's when everybody went, go and bugger off up to the surface and grow some legs because your singing voice is awful, Ariel. Get out of here.
One Piece gets away with this in the same way the Barbie and Everything Everywhere All at Once gets away with it. They don't make you self-conscious about it. It just seems like it's the fabric of things.
Mm-hmm.
But when you do a big change, like changing Doctor Who, for example, or you change the Fantastic Four, there's a much like people's idea of the thing is stronger, and they feel betrayed that this thing doesn't look like that man in that tight blue suit.
I'm gonna
bloody good in that tight blue suit.
He did.
I'm gonna twist this back then. And say,
I don't think they've done Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic for any of the Disney progressive reasons. I don't think they've done it on any. I think they've just done it because Pedro Pascal is as hot as fucking lava right now.
And he's diversity that is hot as fucking lava. Right?
Yeah, that's it.
It can be both things. It's like, hey, let's make this cast a little bit more approachable. I don't know how many people speak Spanish on the planet.
There is a lot of people losing their shit at the moment though about Fantastic Four because it's been rumored today. I think it was today. I certainly read about it today that Silver Surfer will be the villain in Fantastic Four, but Silver Surfer will be played by, I forget her name. She was the main character in Queen's Gambit. I forget her name.
Oh,
you know
Anna,
absolutely.
Yeah. She
and apparently people are losing their shit. Yeah, it is Anna something. Yeah. Yeah, she wasn't in the movie.
Anna Taylor Lee or something, or Anna. I don't know.
And naturally,
we're so terrible at names.
Losing their shit as to whether this is true or not.
Three old guys together, and we can't remember anything.
But apparently, there was also a female Silver Surfer. So it's like the people who are losing their shit about it. Like, well, what about the actual female Silver Surfer?
You're not really fans. No. You're not really fans. You think you're fans. You walked past it in a comic book shop and said, I don't like reading Fantastic Four. And that's as close as you got to being a fan. Because if you were an actual fan, you would actually know the kind of the backstory behind it, you non-fan. Yeah. So we'll see.
Exactly.
We'll see.
Exactly.
I like a different argument for them not being fans. A true fan would want more people to embrace it and experience it, and that's what I think a true fan does, is spread the love for this thing that they love.
Oh yeah, I think there's some. But
I could see the argument of people saying, "Oh, like the version of it I love, I want to see it in all of its Hollywood glory." It's like, well, yeah, but and you could say that about Silver Surfer. It's like, but you did get that. There've been Fantastic Four movies, and there was a Fantastic Four movie where Silver Surfer was the main dude, and he was badass in it. He was one of the only cool things about that movie.
Yes.
So it's like, you've had it. It's had its go. There we go. And it didn't do very well. So there's plenty of argument to say that there's good reason to go another direction and like another version of the character.
She's a naked silver lady. You'd think that folks would be excited about a naked silver lady. Like
X-Men 97's coming back. It doesn't matter.
They've got
Rome's ass everywhere.
I have to ask the two of you. I don't understand.
They're just pausing it. Yeah, like look at those drawn. Those are drawn so well. Hang on a second. Zip. And we're back. We've done a full circle because we're back to hentai again, except only in the
we are 100%.
They're just so terrible.
Hentai.
Let's talk very quickly. I mean, this has been fabulous. We've not actually. It's almost like we're kind of like sporadically bored or board game snobs. Not actually talking about board games.
You never know what ties us all together if you just introduce.
I do. I could give you the yarn out.
I know what you would.
No, but as I've just been, if anybody who's got to this point so far, just listen. They've got no idea what it is that ties us together from what we've spoken about so far, because it's not movies or anything like that.
It's the fact that we are all. Perfect specimens.
Devilishly handsome.
Absolutely. If the video was... This is why we don't release this in a video format, because we don't want people turning us into their version of, X-Men 97 Rogue and just be pausing the video at certain places.
Not again.
Exactly. I mean, I've ruined enough laptops as it is with screen damage. I don't want to ruin any more. Let's talk about Blow Mo and Trumpet. If I only was missing that one vertebrae.
Those lower ribs keep me really from reaching my true potential.
Damn it. And she's away all weekend for the kids.
I wish it was just my ribs and my vertebrae that was getting in the way of me doing that. There's so much more to it than that. Well done for you two, though. Well done.
We're gonna have to do some trimming. I don't mean. So
that's what this episode should be called. We should have done more trimming.
Project Management and Gun Show Robots. We should have done more trimming is the full title of the show. And I'm going to cut this bit out, so people are going to go, "What are they talking about? What do they mean?" Conquest Princess.
Oh, Conquest Princess. Yeah.
I mean,
Fashion is Power, and its follow-up, Night of the Necropede. So,
sounds a bit dodgy, but
Board Game Media loves Conquest Princess. I'm very excited about that. You were an early love of Conquest Princess, of all the lunacy therein. Night of the Necropede is the deck expansion, the event deck expansion, which doubles the content in the game. It funded in 33 minutes. It was crazy. Jamie Stegmaier commented on the Stonemaier blog last week. And so,
did that?
It's not like I'll be able to afford bifocals, but it is really, it's really good to be recognized by my peers. I mean, next month, it'll be the 11th year of me doing Fight in a Box full time. And
that's incredible.
Yeah. That I would stick with such a money losing proposition for so long. Absolutely.
You must have a lot of inherited wealth. Well done.
No.
It
was a thing.
Chasing my dreams and watching them. I'm just not fast enough.
Burn
and as I get older,
slow burn.
It's not fast enough. Give us a second, dreams. I'm just trying to catch up for goodness sake.
The game is really, 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 really good. It innovates in a couple of different ways for bag builders and co-ops. It's a crisis management game. The theme is cuckoo bananas. My favorite moment with the folks that we were talking about, like game media people, is they said that game cannot be any good based on its theme. And then one of their friends said, "I dare you to try it and say that again." And they're like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, go ahead. Play Seppy's demo." And they do, and they sit down and they play this demo, and they're like, "Oh my God, this game is that good." It's crazy. The game is great. It only took me 9 years, Richard, to make happen. 2 different campaigns, one on GameFound and then one on Kickstarter. And that's what Jamie is talking about. Doing 2 campaigns and when that makes sense and who that works for. And so our GameFound campaign was a success. But nobody does what we did on GameFound, which was stick to it to the end. We ride or die. We are going to make this happen with our fan base, because the people who opposed that original Kickstarter, it did. The people who opposed that Kickstarter, and by opposed I mean literally opposed it, we're going to win otherwise. But the people who wanted it to happen said, no, it's going to happen. And so, because of the industry champion award from Chip Theory, and because I am actually a decent project manager, project management is my love language.
I was gonna say, you've still not got the T-shirt that says that though.
I need that. We were like, we can sneak in the stuff we had always hoped, if the campaign took off, would be in the stretch goals, and so we're just doing $15 campaign, $15 add-on to the original campaign. That boom. And so, it's great. Fans are great. We're actually offering the comic book, the Princess Zero. You guys were talking about that kinds of stuff. So Princess Zero will come in your box. Richard, I know you backed it. You're going to get a copy of the comic book in the box.
When?
It's got to be zine sized.
When?
It'll tell you of the first era the second era of the giant robots and how it ended. And the first era will be alluded to in the preamble to it. It is 32-page comic book. So if folks just want the comic book, they can just get the comic book. So that's a thing that could happen.
But when?
Yeah.
When am I getting this? When is it? When is it happening? When?
As per my promise, you're going to get it late this summer. Can you even believe it?
This summer. Can I believe it? I'm going to have to go to bed and sleep for a long time and then wake up and it'll be here. And then everything can be happy.
Not that
again.
long, though.
Not that long.
Like ski accident level coma,
to be fair,
not like car accident level coma.
You've got to use the right terminology as well, though. So to him, what you meant to say was July, August, because summer isn't really a word that's too understood in the Outer Hebrides. You know, it's when there's
Do you guys have holiday season?
5 hours of daylight, you know.
What? That's just what are you talking about? What are you talking about? It's like 6.5. 6.5. We set our sundials by it. It's perfect haggis hunting weather. You know? All the way to the end.
Yeah.
All the way to the end without like some kind of dig. All the way to the end. Just saying. Just
I've got to get
obviously
one in.
such a disappointment for a girl. But what's next on the cards? What's next on the cards for you? What have you is it busy? Because GameFound's been open now for some time. So is it a continual?
Yeah, it got shut down for the campaign, for the Kickstarter campaign, because the GameFound late backing went pretty well, or late pledge went pretty well. Then we shut that down for the Kickstarter. That's gone pretty well. Again, not like I can afford bifocals, whether money, but like fans like it. It's very good. The next thing on our line is End of the Line in June, which is our game of post-apocalyptic family survival. Like, Richard, you're one of the few people who I think I could just give you the original End of the Line and you'd be able to quote where all the Easter eggs are in this game. And it is as bad as you think for a game that is inspired by things like A Boy and His Dog and Logan's Run. Like, it
sounds like an absolute joy. Oh, Boy and His Dog's brilliant. No,
it is.
It's just so good. You have to have like a card where you
the
play.
Punchline movies.
It's just the best. It's best. You know the end for A Boy and His Dog, don't you, Luke? Do you know the end of it? No, you know the end of it. No, you don't know the end of it. Oh, it's so brilliant.
Oh, and we can't spoil it.
We can't spoil it because that ruins that. It's one of these things that if you know what happens at the end of the movie, there's literally no point in watching the thing all the way through because the way it kind of builds up, and at the end you're just like, "That's amazing. That's so refreshing. Thank you very, very much." So
it is the opposite of like Dark Cities, which has the opposite. You watch the end, you go like, "Oh, why did I watch that?" Like all this seemed amazing, but maybe it's more like Happiness.
I can't wait. So that's you.
That movie is
like just totally just taking over again. I was asking Luke the question. Luke, are you very, very busy at the moment now that GameFound is like open up to everybody else? It's okay, Seppy. Just you interrupt whenever you feel like it.
Yes.
Good.
We are very, very busy. Yes. We got lots and lots of big campaigns coming up. As you've seen, we've had Come On are now a big part of GameFound, which was a ridiculous get for us, you know. We're just trying to always do more things, make the platform just grow and grow and grow and do all the features that, you know, since we were in the beta and everything, we've just had getting feedback from everybody all the time, you know, what they need from the backers as well as the creators and everything. So yeah, we just keep doing what we're doing. And
is it going to allow you to fill up some of the gaps that I see on the painting shelves behind you? Because I can see 1, 2, 3, 4. There's about 6 bottles that kind of need filled up behind you.
No, that's because they're all there.
Ah, okay. So he's not even giving us his full focus, Seppy. It's like painting away. You know, when your hands were down there, I thought it was because you were pleased to see us, but no. He's not.
No, I thought he was pleased to see X-Men 97.
Yeah, very pleased.
He's doing
Very pleased.
I'm just doing the eyeballs and the bum crack.
I'm sorry about that. I was
just
I,
no.
I apologize.
No, you're just
No,
trying.
I see. You can't take away my apology. I
You
apologize.
can't take an apology now because you're literally labeling him. You've just labelled him as somebody who can't paint eyes properly, which, as we know, exactly. By all means, say that I like animated Rogue's bum. By how dare you pester me with my, how dare you say I am unable to paint eyes properly? I don't even bother painting eyes. Exactly like that. That's how my space marines are like, where's the gene stealers? I've no depth perception, basically. Because there's an eye at the side of the head. Or they've got just a big eye down their face. It's just, my painting is...
That would explain my rolling in Space Hulk and other Space Marine properties.
Just like I'm going down the corridor sideways because it's the only way I can see. Where's the threat? My fiery axe in front of me and I can't.
This is why I need it sound-based.
When is Fight in a Box coming to the UK Games Expo?
When is Fight in the Box coming to the UK Games Expo?
I want to go to the Highlands. What is it? The Highland Con first, and then the UK.
The Highland Con.
Isn't that the game convention by you?
I think he means Tabletop Scotland.
Tabletop Scotland.
There you go. Isn't it? Where is it held?
In the Highlands.
It's held near. It's actually near Edinburgh Airport.
Yeah. What is that convention center called?
It's the Royal Highland Show Convention Centre. All right. Okay.
Touche. Well played, Seppy. Well played indeed. You just out-Scottished him.
I did. I looked it up. That's how serious I was, Richard. I definitely want to do that. I do want to do UK Expo. I'm going to definitely do that before I do Essen.
Oh.
Yeah.
Have you never done Essen, though?
None of our titles have gotten the kind of notoriety for that audience up until Princess. And I don't think we're going to do a run that's big enough to make, or not this first one at least. I think if folks are really interested in Prudence, they should get it. I think it's going to be a shorter run that people think. It's going to basically help all the fulfill for all the people who backed it and all the retail backers. And then it's going to probably disappear like End of the Line did. It just boom. It's too big of a title for us as a small company to take a huge overhead chance on and whatever it is. And so it is going to show up. People are going to love it because they already do. And then people are going to go, why didn't I get it? I'm like, I got this other game about post-apocalyptic family survival. Have you watched A Boy and His Dog? And that's
not a good one, isn't it? Because then if they haven't watched The Boy and His Dog, they're going to go, oh, what's it about? And you're going, I can't tell you. You have to watch the film.
And then I say things like this, Richard, which gets me in even more trouble. Have you read the book or watched the Viggo Mortensen movie, The Road? And then if they say yes, I'm like, this is the board game. And then they walk away scared. And then, if they haven't,
it's like, I just opened my email for my direct debit for my gas bill. Do you think I need to be even more depressed? Just like, bye.
Exactly. The new version of End of the Line is actually fantastic. We're excited to do a 10th anniversary. I'm doing a 10th anniversary. The second edition is for the 10th anniversary of the game. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Is it crazy? I heard it's crazy. Is it crazy?
It's nuts. There are things like every kind of terrible thing that you can do to each other in the post-apocalypse, you probably can do in End of the Line.
God, sounds just a family wholesome evening.
Sounds delightful.
Playing a game.
Sounds delightful.
This is every trigger warning that you can imagine is probably got to go on the box for that game, and it is the exact.
Is it the board game equivalent of Invincible, where you go into it, you're thinking, "Oh, this would be a fun game," and then you just you have 5 card flips over, and you're like, "Jesus,
yes!"
What is going on?
Those moments where you feel bad for laughing at things, and you're like, "Should I?" Yeah, not like Legend of the Overfiend bad. Like, I feel bad that I had seen this. Not that level bad.
I never said I felt bad. I got A-level guilt from it. There's no point watching it. I felt kind of bad. You'd just like to point that out.
Wow.
I was step away now.
I'm not going to yuck your yum now, but I will do it later. But yeah, it's the exact opposite that Conquest Princess is, which is feel good, like nobody can die, co-op. End of the line is like a brutal chaos surfing, like visceral experience that plays now in 45 minutes.
It's like the difference between the Justice League and the Batman, basically. The Justice League cartoon and the Batman film.
It's very tongue-in-cheek. It's very dark humor. It's very, very, very dark humor.
It sounds perfect. Sounds perfect. And if people want to find out where they can find out more about End of the Line or Conquest Queen Princess, where can they find you on the internet webs? David, where can we find you on the internet webs?
With my popping head, I'm Canadian. Fightingabox.com or Fight in a Box on all the socials, from TikTok to Instagram to Blue Sky to at Twitter. And I almost said the other word. I'm on all of them.
Awesome. What I'll do is, I obviously care enough to put the links in, but I am just going to do a Control-V back into the show notes. I could just copy it straight over and then just change the line at the top to say, joining us again. And this time it's an anime special.
Is it an anime special?
Is it kind of like a car? Yeah, I think we've had it. I think it's been an interesting chat. I think it's nice to kind of catch up about these things,
I love being on, Richard. Yeah.
And we didn't talk enough about project management, which I know is your love language, but you'll maybe need to come back on again. Who knows? But that, I think, is a good place to wrap everything up, because I need to go. Why do I need to go again? I don't know.
I wanted to watch X-Men.
Yeah, look, the missus is away at Belfast
just do a
all
Google image
weekend
search
by myself.
It'll save you a lot of time.
What am I doing? There's no guessing what I'm going to be doing. I have not paused again. Have I paused again? Have I got a hiding thing? There you go.
Every now and then you have.
There.
Yeah, every now and again,
I fall apart as Bonnie Tyler.
Turn around, Richard.
All right, yeah, I get it.
Come on, Bright Eyes.
I get it. I didn't think you'd get it, though. I didn't think it was going to be such
I did.
Of course you did.
No, yeah.
Of course you did. Of course.
No, it's
right.
In the lexicon of mandatory gay listening. It's fine.
Do you get that?
Do you get it in the welcome pack? Like a little CD compilation.
In a big pink envelope, you're like, hey, these are things.
That's what I think is missing. I think, you obviously have
gay welcome pack. Why doesn't that exist?
I think it does.
It does. I don't know why you think it doesn't.
I think that, and you get a toaster if you get,
Why'd you get a toaster?
Because if you manage to get somebody else to join you. But there should be a straight welcome pack, shouldn't there? So you've realised you're straight. There you go. This is what you have to do. All right. And it would help a lot.
It's called walking down the street without harassment.
Don't be like that. We're doing so,
It's called making 30% more than everybody else. That's the pack that you get.
That was the famous
getting through your day without much effort.
It's being able to see what you just said, Richard.
I'm gonna do.
You just unboxed your straight welcoming pack for all the world to see.
There you go. I'm gonna now go outside and walk the dog.
It's less exciting, admittedly.
Well, I know, but I know. I'm gonna say, like, I'm old. Give me a break. And it's like, well, you're old. You should know better, basically. And it's time to wrap this up, because I'm just gonna get myself in more trouble. And I don't want cancel. You can't cancel me. I'm gonna just when I get to the end of this, rather than go, and I've had the best time and it's now time to say goodbye to the podcast, I'm just going to go cancel, put like a cancel thing out there, and folk are going to go, I'm never going to listen to your show again. And it's like, that's good, because I didn't like board games anyway.
Did we talk about board games? Oh yeah, we did.
No, we don't. We didn't have to. We didn't have to. I was looking at a game called Bad Trevor, and you can't call a card game.
Trevor.
You can't call a card game Bad Trevor. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Because Trevor sounds reliable. Bad Steve.
Yeah.
Now, Bad Steve, that's a game. Bad Trevor? Bad Trevor is the guy that comes round and helps your dad fix his car when there's something wrong. Bad Trevor is the guy that, helps paint the
who's
shed.
going to fix the car? Trevor. Which Trevor? Well, Bad Trevor.
You're Trevor. No, Bad Trevor.
Bad Trevor.
Bad Trevor doesn't exist.
No.
Bad
Good
Steve.
Trevor or Bad Trevor?
Bad Steve exists. So basically, the entire game is it's not one I can recommend under the current name. I have spoken to the people that have developed the game, and I have told them that they need to change the game, and they said they would. And I said the other thing that they could do is they could get some Tipex or whiteout, and they just need to take every copy of the game and Tipex out the word Trevor and put in Steve instead. Still waiting because they've not been responding to my emails. And I don't know why, because I've been constructive and helpful. Who knows?
It's true, and it would give those boxes all such a nice aroma.
You get strawberry flavoured ones anyway. But now, I digress. It is time.
Tipex.
Do you remember
Stop drinking Tipex.
Do you remember
You shouldn't know what Tipex tastes like. It's not for drinking.
You got two types of Tipex when I was younger. You got the stuff that was like non-scented and stuff, which was fine, and it was like, and then you got the proper Tipex.
That was like scented.
The proper Tipex that was literally a banned substance. Basically, people used to like paint it on their hands and then just sit there in class going.
Good for correcting mistakes on your paper and also burning out wasps' nests.
And literally destroying brain cells. Yeah. There you go.
And in the United States, they were called that white out.
They called it white out.
Yes, white
they
out.
Called it white out. And
white out.
Apparently, Mike Nesmith's mum invented Tipex. So there you go. The guy that was in the Monkeys.
Wow, really?
Yeah, apparently that's where he got his money. So there we go. and on that note, it's time to go because we're dragging on far too long. Well, it's me that's dragging it on as normal because I'm a drag on. So it's time to say goodbye. So it's a goodbye from the rather wonderful, rather fantastic Luke. Say goodbye, Luke.
That was me.
Oh,
yeah.
Bye-bye.
And it's a goodbye from the if there was a storm, they'd be calling it the force of nature. The person who is the conquest princess themselves. It's Seppy Yoon.
That's the nicest thing to say. I thought you were going to say Luke again.
No. No. Say goodbye, Seppy.
Goodbye, Seppy.
And it's a goodbye from me. Remember, if you've listened along tonight and you got to the end, well done. Well done.
Well done.
Well done. You go outside, you have a stretch, get yourself a chocolate bar, whatever you do to reward yourself. But if you have liked the show, then please tell other people and drop us a rating or a review on the podcast catcher of your choice. But until the next time, my name's Richard. This is We're Not Wizards. Remember, stay safe, roll sixes, make something awful. But until the next time, goodbye.
A wizard is never licked. Nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.